Welcome, Kevin.
All right.
Another podcast starting. So this will be I think it's our fourth one now. Again, this is like a works in progress, but today I went to Krispy Kreme. I want to try this. Also have a local brewery, the Growler Beer Company, and I went to go visit them. And I think we need to support small business, uh, especially craft beer. I mean, it's an excellent. They have excellent product, and hopefully, I mean, I don't have any audience right now, but this is what it's all about. Like, we've got small business, and then we got a massive business, and this is what we want to talk about today. How Krispy Kreme has entered Edmonton, and we have a giant American company. I was very impressed, Kevin. I went in there, I took some photos, some videos. I watched how the sausage is made, but in this instance, donuts are made, and the quality control. They have two people specifically to look at the donuts to make sure they're the right size. And then I saw one talking to some of the other workers, explain to them how it needs to be done, why it's not passing a check. This gives me a lot of what do you call it, faith in, let's say, if I'm not a donut eater, but I wanted to try it. So I would buy this over Tim Hortons, where I can't really see what's going on because literally they're frozen. They come in, they throw them on the shelf. It's no longer made in house. So I would support this, although it's American, over, well, and Tim Hortons also American, but most people think they're Canadian,
Yeah, right now
right?
it's American, right? Yeah.
And then you look at this. This is excellent product, but they're having a hard
that's
time.
you relate to the topic that you want to talk about
That's
today.
right.
Yes.
So
Yeah, so it says drink local,
exactly.
support local business.
I agree,
It
and I
totally makes
believe in it.
sense. Yes.
So here. I'm gonna pour us some of this. I hope this is allowed on Twitch, but I'm so small that nobody
No, this
really
is
cares.
just tea, right?
This is cranberry tea cider, so it's got a bit of
Cider.
alcohol to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So tell me what you think. If you want more, we can add more, but I'll give you a
I
taster
haven't have
first.
anything yet this morning. So,
Yeah.
It would be interesting.
So it's not
to-
as strong.
to
I don't
taste.
think it's as strong as beer. I think it's only 2.4%.
Oh, okay.
So and then here's the donuts. I don't know if everyone's gonna be able to see this,
it's
but
like a rainbow. Yeah.
it's like a rainbow. It doesn't look that much different from
Tim Hortons, yeah.
Hortons, but I just tried one before you came here, and it's very, very soft, fluffy. I don't know. I don't know what else quality. What other qualities you have?
Yeah,
for them. So help yourself to whatever you like. There's this, I think, is cake batter,
cake
Oreo cookie.
This is like a Boston cream, right? This is like a chocolate.
Yeah, and then this is Santa Belly. It's got whipped cream inside.
Okay.
Maple,
Maple syrup.
original honey glaze. You've got the Grinch.
Ah,
I don't know what this is.
this is chocolate.
Raspberry.
Raspberry.
I don't know what this one is. Is it
Yeah, I'll try the maple.
maple? Okay, so you're
Oh,
Canadian.
I'm a Canadian. Yes, support Canadian.
Welcome to the Red, White, and Maple podcast.
That's right. No, it looks yeah, it's a fair size. It's like similar to Tim Hortons donut.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think it's that much different, but it's very, very fluffy. I watched how they make it.
Yeah.
And it was that's the other cool thing. I can watch how they're made, so you know they're fresh. All right. So I'm gonna have the original honey glaze right here, and then
Because you know what you're eating. It's not some
Yeah.
donut made from some factory,
Yeah.
and in some hidden place.
and
Because you eating what you see, right? Because
I-
that give you a sense of I don't know, comfort.
yeah, and I could see the workers and what the hygiene level is.
Yeah.
That gives me a lot of faith too. I'm gonna put the Growler Beer Company back up on here too. All right, so you could see that. So let's chat. I mean, we were talking a little bit over the phone, but then I always interrupt you and say, save it for the podcast. So this time, I was able to stop you in time. We were talking about a few subjects. Do you want to keep going with the Krispy Kreme small business, or do you want to
I
go
think
right
we can
into the
talk
healthcare
about
CEO?
Local business versus business from other country. I think that's what you concerned about, right?
Try some.
But I think we just need to look at the reality and talk about, I don't know, like depends on what angle you take in terms of talking to this, right? Mm-hmm. So
Try some of this.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Merry Christmas.
Very interesting.
Easy to drink too.
Easy to drink. Yeah.
It's only 2.4%.
It's like
yeah.
apple cider, yes.
Yeah.
Sour, and then I think it's good that you have it before the dinner and then get.
It's a little bit
like an
tart.
appetizer. Yeah.
Cranberry tea cider.
Yeah, cranberry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that taste. Yeah.
So after you eat something, it helps clear the palate too, right? So yeah, if you like this, I can't remember. I think this only costs. So the jug costs. I don't know how much it costs. I mean, and it's 3.5%.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
I think it was $18 for a fill, and you get quite a bit, right?
Quite a bit, yeah.
Almost 2 liters, and
How much is it?
I think it was $18.
$18.
Plus the jug, maybe.
Yeah.
But really, it's I didn't think it was that bad. I like the product. I'm not a big drinker, so when I go to the liquor store, I have no idea what I'm buying. But this was really good because if you go to the growlery, he'll give you samples so you can try them, and support local business. I think it's important.
Yeah.
But also support companies that give good products. Look, Krispy Kreme. I'm now a fan because I look at it. I'm not gonna buy a lot of donuts. Still, I don't buy a lot of donuts. I have one maybe every 5 years, but it's a great quality.
It is the donut. It's good donut, like a very fluffy, like you said. The taste is good, like and I think the maple. This is maple. And it's good taste.
Okay, so
It's fresh, like a fresh donut.
yeah,
Not like
it's
it's
very
put
good.
on a shelf for a long time.
So I'm just gonna change the title of the podcast here. Could be red, white, and maple. Local versus international business. And what else are we talking about? Anything dangerous today?
No, probably not for Christmas Eve. We want to get through Christmas.
And danger. Okay, done. So, okay, let's go. Well, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think you mentioned that you kind of like the Tim Horton at its beginning, right? Because we like Canadian business, like this one, right? We support Canadian because then the local economy can thrive and then we benefit from it because everybody benefit from it, right? But then you talk about now it seems like there's a lot of negative news about Tim Horton and then people not going to Tim Horton and the quality of the food is getting not as good as before, right? I noticed that, and I think now this donut franchise comes in and it's good. We just have it, right? So I think there's two things here. One is I think we can then relate to the economic, and other concern. So in terms of good product, good food that it bring to Canada, yes, that's the good size of this kind of franchise that come in, right?
Okay.
So kind of like enrich our options, because then actually in the West there's not a lot of Dunkin' Donut. In the east, our east, like
That's an American
Ontario,
company.
There's an American company,
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donut. It's good, right? Because a lot of people are like, oh, Dunkin' Donut is very famous. Every time I go
Is
there,
it good?
it's similar. Like
It's like
donut.
Tim Hortons.
It's very similar, but then I think it's a little bit more expensive. So for this one, it's almost like $2 each, right?
Yeah, I paid $16 for a dozen.
Half a dozen.
A dozen now.
A dozen now.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So right here, like it. I think the Tim Hortons donut used to be $1. Now it's like $1.50, $2, and things are getting more expensive, right? There's actually another donut, a shop. I think it's in Windermere. They selling
Maverick?
$5 or $6 each donut,
Yeah.
but it's not a different kind of donut.
Super gourmet donuts.
Super gourmet
yeah,
donut,
Yeah.
yeah.
I looked them up on Google
Kind
too.
of expensive, and it doesn't taste.
You don't get to see how they make it.
Yeah,
the
you don't.
background.
You don't. It may be a small kitchen in the back. I don't know how they make it. Yeah. So the taste is different. Like
Specialty don't, but these are specialty too.
These are specialty
and
too.
they don't cost $5
Yeah.
or $6.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
So I
mean,
don't know. Donut is like the symbolic item for the Canadian culture or the American culture. I don't know because simply there's no such thing in China. There's some other pastry, but then not this kind, right?
Right.
Because I think it's deep fry and sweet. There's a lot of sweet on it, and that's actually very North American maybe, right? Because I mean, this is from America. So, and then the other thing is that now you're saying, oh, now this new franchise comes in, it's gonna compete with Tim Horton, but Tim Horton used to be owned by Canadian, but I think a couple of years, it's like what 4 or 5 years ago, before COVID, is it after COVID?
Longer than that,
Longer
yeah.
than that, right? So it's got bought out by American. I think it's Burger King. They bought that Tim Horton.
Yeah,
Wendy's, Burger King, right? So that's actually a big franchise. I think this is before COVID. So now, it's no longer part of our national identity, right? Because it's like before, I think in the media, I would say, "Oh, we have Tim Horton," so it's almost like we're proud of it, right? So it's somehow become part of the national identity.
So
Like-
should we
Like
support?
Tim Horton, because actually a lot of my friends when they now go back to China, so Tim Horton is opened up in China now. They would go to Tim Horton and have a cup of coffee, Tim Horton coffee, just for the sake of they are Canadian or they live in Canada. So that for that passion.
So they're in China. They have because there's
Yes.
Tim Hortons in China.
Tim
by the
Hortons
way,
in
yeah.
China, they have franchises.
So
now
they have
open
Tim
up in
Hortons
China.
because they believe it's Canadian.
Yes.
Because I agree. Because when I see the Chinese advertising for the Tim Hortons over there,
Yes.
they have Canadian maple leaves,
Canadian maple leaf, Xerox,
slate,
Slate,
snow and all this stuff.
right, exactly. So what they're selling is a piece of the culture, right? But they
Okay.
didn't specifically say, "Oh yeah, it's American-owned company." No, nothing like that.
So is that
It's everything
disingenuous?
Canadian. It's
Does it-
very Canadian.
Is it disingenuous because it's actually not Canadian, but they're
now
displaying
that
Canada?
we know, yeah. So that's actually what I want to talk about, right? So on the surface, it's not owned by Canadians, but it's selling the Canadian culture, right? So the interesting fact is that now, it's an economic activity.
Yeah.
All this franchise, right? It's selling the Canadian culture, right? But in fact, it's the Americans who's making the money, right? So deep down, do we think, oh, it's true Canadian? Then which part of it is true Canadian? But okay, so then I say, in terms of the culture, yes, right? Like the example that I show you, because my friend go back and they would love to go to Tim Hortons and then enjoy that atmosphere because they have a sense of going to a Tim Horton in China, so they almost feel like, oh, I'm back in Canada, right? And they're actually very proud of it, and they have passion of it, over that, right?
Right.
So that's that. But then when you think, oh, because now this company, Krispy Kreme, this donut company is not Canadian, it doesn't feel truly pleasant to have that, although it provides a good product. So is it a sentiment? Is it just a sentiment?
Well, let's separate the things here. I want to talk about the fact that it's not Canadian, but also small businesses versus giant businesses. Krispy Kreme is a huge business.
Yeah, it's just a franchise, right?
Right.
Chain franchise, yeah. It's,
I think so. Yeah.
right, because that's why they can highly automate this, and then McDonald's in front of your eyes, and then you can eat whatever you see, right?
So we're talking about local versus international, or small business versus huge business.
Yeah.
And then the fact that what should we support? Are we supporting the identity or the culture, or do we support the product? Like, this is a good product, but this is also a good product. Can I get cheaper beer or cheaper cider? I'm sure, maybe. I'm sure I could, but this is a great product, right? You've had some. Like, what do you think? It's good, right?
Oh, it's good. It's good. So, to your questions, like what do we support? Because I think
Should you support a bad Canadian product? No, right? No. The answer should be no.
out of patriotic, I would.
You would? A
I
bad
would.
Canadian product.
Honestly, if it's like really bad, then I don't, right? Because I mean, let's say you buy a battery for your car, right?
Yeah.
So if your battery break down in the cold winter, you know that battery has bad review over the years. If it's made, by Canadians, would you buy it? I say no.
No.
Because actually, that's actually exactly what your question is implying to. Is it like, do you take patriotic or your identity, your sense of identity over the functional aspect of a good? Because what you're saying is that this donut is good. I liked it because everybody likes to eat good food. Like whenever you go out, like it doesn't matter like Burger King or Five Guys. Now I usually go to Five Guys for burgers because their burgers simply better than Wendy's.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah,
I love Five
better
Guys.
than Arby's.
Yeah, yeah.
Five Guys. You've seen the burgers and even the bread they use, right? It looks like a burger. It tastes like a burger.
Can I throw another example at you though?
Sure.
Chinese food.
Chinese food, yes.
And Edmonton sucks.
Edmonton's,
But we
because
still
I
support
used
it,
to
right?
live in Ontario, so there's a comparison here, right?
Yeah. But I used
Because-
to live in Vancouver. So
Yeah,
I-
usually I know we usually go to Vancouver
Yeah.
and then we have Chinese food. It's authentic like dim sum, right? And then Japanese food as well, like the ramen. It's
Yeah.
good, and we just had ramen the other day, right?
Yeah.
In Edmonton.
Yeah.
It's getting there, but it's not as good as those in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Because they are made by authentic.
But we
I'm not just saying that they owned by Japanese owners, but over here it's like people from Hong Kong, China,
but
or
you will
Korean.
eat a bad Chinese product. We both do.
No. Okay, so to that extent, so if you say you're gonna get diarrhea if you eat that food, would you still eat it? You don't, right? But not to the extent that you love it so much, or you don't.
But
or
I'm
you love the
challenging
food.
you said for patriotic reasons
Yes.
you'll have bad Canadian product.
Yeah,
What,
so-
what qualifies?
To what extent? Yes.
Yes.
To what
What
extent?
will you buy that's bad?
What would I buy as best? So
As long
that
as it's
depends.
Canadian.
So that depends.
What?
It all
you need to
depends.
give you an example.
I know. So it seems like I don't have a principle. Yes,
Yeah.
because it's all. But if you would, because I mean, maybe people will blindly support Canadian products, even though they're bad. That's actually a very, very interesting question.
Okay. Okay. Let's not talk about the quality. Let's say you have a good quality product like this.
Yes.
$18. But if
Yes.
I offered you the same thing,
Yeah, from
that's
America.
American.
Yeah, that's American.
let's say $9
$9.
for this size.
Yeah. So a lot of people would think twice. It's like,
But let's say this is a better product than the American one.
no, yeah. So okay, so then you give the people another reason to choose Canadian product over the American product. But let's say they're all equal, like
But it happens all the time. When I talked to the owner of this establishment, he was telling me that there are cheaper beers out there, but people will buy it because it's cheap. It's poor quality. I think he gave some examples. I don't want to say them on here. I don't want to, but throw any other company under the bus. And he said it doesn't taste good. It's like swill water or whatever it is.
yeah.
So, but it's cheap. So let's say you're a hockey team, you want to get everybody some beer.
Yeah.
You're gonna buy that cheaper product because you can get a lot of it, right?
Right.
So then, is that fair? Because now you're buying it just because it's cheap, not because of its any quality. And we're talking about this is good quality. So what do us as consumers, and maybe it's different. Maybe in Toronto, Vancouver, you're not going to buy garbage Chinese food or garbage Vietnamese food or whatever.
Yep.
But in Edmonton, you will because there's no other choice.
Oh yeah, so that's a different scenario, right? Because you simply don't have choice. Because I think the competition in Toronto, for example, right, the Chinese food there is actually very authentic, and there's lots of these Chinese restaurants, like the different food category, right? Like the Cantonese food, right? So we have dim sum and then like steamed fish or whatever, right? Those are like Cantonese food. There's actually a lot of these restaurants over there for you to choose from, right? So the competition is very intense. If you make food that doesn't taste good, people don't come back, right? So you eventually gonna run out of business,
Yeah.
right? But if you have actually that is a system, with healthy competition, and that will actually at the end of the day, people will get quality food out of that
Okay.
that competition system. Where here, when you say, hey, we only have 2 Chinese restaurants, for example, right? the major one. Like you only have choice A and B.
But that's
You
not true.
Well, a little bit more. Like I'm just saying. I'm just saying. This is want to show an example here, right? I know we know like we have pho, right? Actually, you get more choice of pho now. Like
Well, we have lots of choices of pho. We have lots of choices of Chinese restaurants. Why does anyone raise the bar and say, "Hey, we're gonna do like Toronto, Vancouver standard"?
yeah,
But it's more expensive to do it because you have to get better chefs. So then everybody wants to go to the lowest common denominator.
yeah. I know. But what's irony? What's ironic? It's actually that the food is more expensive here in Alberta than Ontario,
True.
where the quality is higher over there. So that's interesting. Why is that?
Because in
Right.
Toronto, Vancouver, it's packed. Always packed. You
Always
have
packed.
tons
Also,
of
the
people.
volume, right?
Yeah.
It's the volume as a customer, so they can survive. With actually, they invest more in the ingredient and more into the chef skill, right? So that will produce quality food,
Yeah.
where they can still sustain the business, right? Because it's like maybe all day, like you said, people are lining up because they make good food,
Yeah.
right? So that's why they can survive.
I
And
think
they
here
can have a good
they
business.
need to charge more for Chinese food because they don't have the same volume.
They don't have the same volume, and of course, people don't have choice.
But
So then they
What
can,
if-
maybe they think, oh, what if I don't make it good,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
People still come. Then what is the point of making it good?
But your average kind of person is going to go there, but they might not frequent all the time. I'm talking. Look at Krispy Kreme. You make a good product, people
Yeah.
will come.
Yeah.
That place was packed. Now I know it's brand new, so maybe people are just trying, just like Jollibee. But I would challenge maybe these Chinese restaurants or Vietnamese restaurants. Why don't you raise the bar,
Yeah.
lower the prices? You'll
Yeah.
be full all the time. Everybody's happy, right? I can buy a bowl of pho not for like
Yes.
$18 anymore because we just were arguing about that. Remember the Lucky Market is at $12.99
Yes.
for, and it's actually a great bowl of pho, not a ton.
Not
You
a
don't-
ton,
but
but the taste is good.
taste is good.
Taste is good.
and
Yes.
I will buy that now.
I'll buy that now. And I think what we talk about here it's the market regulation. We follow the market, right? It's almost like you make a good product and good price, people will come. Where on the other end, if your menu is expensive, where it tastes, average, then people would they come next time? No, because they have better option. They will go to the other place. Right? That's how this market works in terms of fair competition,
Yeah.
right? Where on the other, let's say in another city, Saskatchewan or some other city where there's less Asian population, so maybe there's only a few restaurants there, and they're saying, well, that we don't have to compete, we don't have to make our food better, we just don't have the motivation to make it better. Why? Because the way it is now, it's good enough. People will still come anyway because simply they don't have choice, right? So that also follow the market principle, right? It's supply and demand.
See, I wonder exactly what you're talking about. Maybe that's why Krispy Kreme, Jollibee, Chick-fil-A, all
Yeah.
of these companies are coming to Edmonton and they try here first because they know we don't have a lot of choices.
We don't have a lot of choices.
So as soon as something new comes, we all jump on it,
Yeah.
and they can do very good business
Yeah.
until maybe a few years later. I don't know, but you know what? Jollibee's still going strong. They open. I think they have 3 now in Edmonton.
One in Western Mall and one in the south side, and I don't know the other one. I haven't been to. Actually, I haven't been to Jollibee because at the beginning of the hike,
Yeah.
people lining up for like whole
That's
day.
pretty good. I mean, I like the
Yeah.
chicken. But Popeyes is also good.
Oh, Popeye now coming out with the fried chicken, right? So that's another race in terms of making a new option for food, right? I mean, KFC has always been around, but people rarely go to a KFC now.
I don't like
I
KFC.
used to go to KFC a lot when
I don't go
when
to KFC because the quality of the chicken, kind of small. Jollibee made some big chicken,
Yeah.
juicy, great. What do you call it? Covering the
Yeah.
crispy part.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes KFC can be kind of soggy, right? So then I think KFC. I don't know what will happen with KFC. Maybe they always are going to have the people who don't want to spend too much money, right? And get the cheaper stuff.
Yes.
So they get the cheaper chicken because Jollibee is a little bit more expensive. Popeye is a little bit more expensive, but great chicken. I prefer eating quality versus just cheap garbage.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if like people like you looking for quality food, right? You wouldn't mind pay a little bit more, and sometimes maybe not necessarily you have to pay more.
Yeah.
It's actually a very competitive price.
Yeah.
Then of course you're gonna you go to the one that you think had the better quality.
Yeah.
And tastes better.
Yeah.
Right. So I think even with the donut, this donut franchise comes in, right? Two things are gonna happen to Tim Horton. Either they're gonna improve themselves, like because they see now this competition comes in, right? Before, rarely there's any competition for Tim Horton, but now there is,
Yeah.
right? So either they go down or they get better. So that also follow the market principle,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, so now let's talk about Canada supporting or subsidizing
Yeah.
Canadian corporations like CBC.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe Canada Post. Actually, you know what's funny?
Bombardier.
Bombardier is a huge
If
one
you
too.
if you use that example, then we can see what exactly.
So-
going
so
on.
actually,
this is more political.
You know what? I had coffee with our friend Ross, right? I was talking to him, and he brought something up I didn't even know about. I had to fact check him. Do you know Canada Post actually owns 91% of Purelator?
Really?
So it's funny. I was trying to get my parcels coming
Yeah.
from Purelator,
Yep.
but when the Canada Post strike happened, all of a sudden Purelator said severe weather warning, can't deliver, and I would get it like a month later, right?
Yeah.
So isn't it interesting that
Are
Canada
they
Post?
on strike again? Also, or they're not part
No,
of
they
the
weren't.
Canada
They weren't really on strike,
Okay.
but their business slowed right down,
Post? Okay.
right? Because I don't know.
I know how it is.
Are you telling me, even though 91% is owned by Canada Post
Yeah.
for Purelator, that it didn't affect their decision making?
I think it does.
Of course it did, right?
It's almost like holding Canadian hostage. Right. That's what they do. See, that's the thing, right? There's something you can follow on principle. You're not violating any regulation, but underneath you can actually do your own. That's what the reality is, right? So exactly what is described by you, right? It's happening because they're not on strike, but they can say go around that by saying severe weather, the partial will be delayed. Okay, then you can ask, what's severe weather? We get good weather these days,
Yeah,
right? That's what it is.
yeah. But Canada
So
Post.
you cannot held that against them. You don't have any solid evidence proven that is the conspiracy,
And that's
or that's the fact. But that's the difficult part, right?
Yeah.
They are doing what they are. You know what they're doing, but you cannot just put your finger on it.
So, and also explain to me this: Canada Post is a crown corporation.
Yeah.
But the federal government has already said we don't control Canada Post. Like they have to operate on their own. We don't subsidize them. I really disagree. I don't
Same
think.
thing as Air Canada, right?
Uh-huh.
Same thing as Air Canada. It used to be owned by you know, the government, but then now not. It's also a crown corporation, and yet they have pensions. Private company don't have pension, right? We work providing. You have your own company, right? we don't have pensions, but why this still happening in Canada?
Yeah.
Same thing as Canada Post, Air
Yeah.
Canada,
Yeah.
all these company. So it's almost like a specialized kind of business practice in Canada, right? So it's I don't know. We always say, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Like how? But I mean, if it's Canadian benefiting from it, then you know it's all good, right?
But
It
people-
employ people.
I think this is why people are getting
But
frustrated.
then the unfair part is like, oh, but can I say it's unfair because they get pension, but other people from other industry don't get the same benefit.
Yeah, and this is why people are
Right?
frustrated because, like you say, there's a what do you call it? Hypocrisy.
Yeah, hypocrisy.
Crown corporation, but acting like a private corporation, but they only take what they want,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because they can influence the policymaker, and then have their way, right? And then that's what's happening, and nobody is saying anything about it, right? And then almost well, you can complain and whine about it, and nothing is going to change because simply you're not in a position to make any of those decisions, right?
Well, we we technically,
Well, you may become a pilot, and then you can benefit from
or
it,
you
right?
vote.
Oh, vote. You
Or
vote, so it's not they're not going to bring that issue up, right? Because for over this longest period of time, nobody will bring those issues up. Like,
Yeah.
okay, this election is going to be based on Air Canada, whether or not it's to remain a crown corporation and people would have pension. This debate would never come up.
I bet you if you get into politics,
Yeah.
and you become an elected official, your career wouldn't last long if you started
it won't.
complaining about this,
Because
this, and this.
that actually.
Do you want some more?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Like,
Yeah, it's very good.
3.5%. So it's like, yeah, this, but who's behind Air Canada? Right? Who owns Air Canada? Because you have to look at those people who benefit from that, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh yeah, we can do this, we can do that. We just simply don't have any influence in that decision.
Right.
And then, so because maybe it's almost like a special treatment, so to speak, right? Yeah, so I mean, if you don't like it, maybe join them. Like, you can become a pilot, you can go work for Air Canada. Oh, you became a postal worker,
Yeah.
right? Nobody's stopping you, right? So, what is to say fair or unfair now, right?
What do you mean? What is to say fair and unfair? Because
This is what we talk about, right? Like this kind of practice,
yeah,
in our business.
yeah, I think as a small business owner, luckily I'm in an industry that it has enough demand that I don't have to worry about selling as much. Yeah, Sir is saying we have a voicing problem again. I just don't know how to fix it. I'll have to figure that out next time.
Oh, is it the lagging?
Yeah, it's
the
lagging
video and,
again. We didn't have that the first podcast. I just don't. Let me try audio. Desktop audio hotkeys.
Yeah, maybe there's a sync setting somewhere. Because it had to take the video and audio in together and then match them. But yeah, we can figure that out.
Yeah, there's.
But how did you fix it last time?
I didn't fix
Oh,
it.
you didn't fix it?
No, I just let it go. It's like, so next time I guess I'll fix it. Yeah, I guess it'll happen next time. I mean, hopefully people don't need to see our faces; they just listen to the audio because
well,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
It's as good as just listening.
the audio is the content. We're not good
Yeah, we're
products.
not-
we're
we're
not.
not good product.
We're not
We're not-
quality products
that's right.
like this. So.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so then let's go back to it. I mean, I gave you the example of we support poor quality Chinese food here in Edmonton, right? Because
It's not because we support it. It's simply we don't have
don't
an
have choice.
option. We
Right.
don't have the choice.
yeah,
But if we do, then those businesses would go out of business, and they would not last, right? You know, when I visit China, right, everywhere you go, you see restaurants after restaurants, and I wonder, there's so many of them. How can they survive? But yet, they're still in business. So
Well, that's
that
because-
tells me something. One, it's the population.
yeah,
It's support. Even though you're not at the top quality, but you're okay, then you can survive. Maybe
Okay.
not very good business, you don't make a lot of money, but it will get you by, right?
What I notice in China though is they try to evolve their product because they know that's the competitive advantage they need to.
Yes.
But hold on. So let's say in Edmonton we do have lots of Chinese restaurants.
Yes.
It's almost like they all agreed together. Is, hey, let's all do low quality because low effort and then charge through the nose because we don't have to compete with each other.
It's almost like WestJet and Canada,
yeah,
and
like the gas stations,
gas
right?
stations. Let's not forget about that now because it's gonna get us killed. It's the same mindset.
You're saying the Chinese restaurants are going to kill us?
No, yeah, okay. The Chinese restaurants gonna kill us. It's the same mindset, right? It's the same mindset.
Okay, yeah.
It's like I was saying, we don't need to improve, and we're making money. Then why would you? What is your motivation? To make it better, to invest into making it better. You simply don't have the motivation. I mean, what I was saying about the East in Ontario is that they have the motivation to improve the product in order to stay in the competition. But over here, Why would you need to improve? Like, for example, the company. Why would you put more money into R&D where your company, where your product is, it's the top selling product now?
Okay.
You see which company I'm talking about? Apple,
Yeah, I know.
right? They don't even bother to change the look and feel, and then just change the number and say, hey, this is a new product, and people will buy it.
How many people?
They know it.
I know, but how many people stopped buying iPhones because they said, "Oh, I'm
Oh
tired
yeah,
of them not
they
innovating."
are on the way down.
Are
for
they?
sure.
Every year, people keep buying the
Because
brand new
simply
iPhone.
they don't have another option.
Android.
Yeah, Android, Google phone. It's okay because people like, okay, same thing as passion, patriotic, whatever. In this case, people take the passion over what's a good product. And honestly, yeah, Apple it's a good product. But they know what they're doing. They're milking people on that.
Of course they do.
Because like they would rather every other week they come out with a new version of iPhone, and then you go sell it or throw away your old one and buy new one.
Yeah.
That's the game. Same thing as I said before, right? We're chasing the CPU game back in the 90s, right? We're like, oh, Pentium 200, 235, 250, or 300 come out. We're chasing that game, right? They
Yeah.
just tune the clock a little bit. It's like, oh, this is a new CPU. If for people who have to have the latest and the greatest, they will fork out the wallet and buy it. Same mindset. It's a passion. It's
Yeah.
no longer because at that speed, right? Like at a point, you don't even notice. You don't even notice, like with this CPU and that CPU, what is the difference? Barely any noticeable difference. But you still want to buy the latest. It's almost like egotistic.
Yeah.
Like I own this top-notch piece of hardware. It makes you feel good. That is the game. Exactly the same game that Apple is playing on the fans,
Yeah.
right? It's not because they abusing the trust. It's sort of, yes, because they know you couldn't live without it. That's why they can do it,
Yeah.
right? But if you like say this another phone company, Elon Musk make his phone, Tesla phone, is as good as product. It's actually better than iPhone, maybe on part. But then people have another choice, right? I mean, I would buy it, right? I don't use iPhone because I don't like the way they practice the business. It's not because the quality is sometimes is bad, like the Wi-Fi and all that, right? And you just pay for the what is called the intellectual tax.
Sure.
Intellectual tax,
Yeah.
right? I have my phone. It works as good, right? Right? And it's way cheaper, right?
I had an Android, but I couldn't figure out all the functions, and there's so many things I couldn't understand how to use. So
It's actually more fluid on Android operating system than
is it though?
iPhone.
Like when you're a browser. So let's say
Yes.
I'm browsing,
Yes.
going through on the iPhone I could just touch the top and it'll bring me right to the top. Android I couldn't do that.
Yeah, maybe Android missing those because it's maybe patternized, right?
Yeah.
So but Android, like in my phone, mine's Huawei, right? You can swipe like operate. You can go back by just swiping to the left, and then go back like when you first serving the web, right? And then you can swipe up to close the application. I think Apple now has that same swipe. I think they pay for the patent from Huawei.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
so like everybody try to get into the game and stay in the game, right? By using this because they know what's valuable in terms of the UX.
Okay, so that drives me nuts. So how can you patent a swipe, right? Because if
Well, they actually
I mean, that seems very common sense to do something like that. And then I'm patenting an idea
Yes.
that I could have thought of as well.
Yes, because I think that's what the whole patent game is all about.
I know,
right?
it's
I think
bullshit,
about
though.
it. Yeah, it is in most of
That's why
the case. Yes.
innovation, that's why we're dead in innovation, because we
Yeah.
protect ourselves with these patents.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right? And we
Of
say,
course.
oh, I'm so smart because
course.
I said you could do this on a phone.
That's
Oh,
what
come
it
on.
comes down to, right? In the whole tech industry. So because if I can patentize certain way of doing things, and it seems like there's only way to do things, like Nvidia. Right now they're making the GPU, and even they patentize the software. Like you cannot break the loop to make your own GPU and make your own software to do it. Huawei is doing it.
Yeah.
because they use a different approach. Because they patronize that, right? You cannot get over that.
I think we haven't advanced as a human race, probably because of patents.
Oh yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
but that's
For
probably
sure.
why we didn't go
Because
to the moon
yeah,
yet. Probably.
because I think more on the economic side of the thing, right? Because you can patronize certain things, then you can live on it forever. Then you don't need to innovate, right?
Yep.
Um, I think a lot of things to patent. Oh, for the longest time, we're paying for the DVD patent
Okay.
because every DVD that you buy, like legally, right, like on the market, and then $1 would go to the DVD patent for owned by that certain company.
Sure.
So that means that company don't even need to do anything. They can if DVD is still around, today, then they still can collect the money. Right? That's what patent is all about. Respecting the IP,
Yeah. Okay.
right? But then at the same time, like you said, it's preventing innovation because simply they don't need to innovate.
See, I think right now patents last for what, 20 years?
I don't know.
That's too
Like,
long.
yeah, there's a patent in drugs, right?
Yeah.
So some drugs, the patent period is, I don't know, 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
But once that patent period is over, anybody can use that formula to make the drugs.
Yeah.
And that was called generic drug.
Yeah.
And it's way cheaper than the patent.
But 20 years is too long. I think 5 years maybe.
But some drug is still effective. Like if it's effective, it's still effective, right? If it's too long, I don't know, right? So
I don't know. Like,
because
well,
maybe that's a balance. Like, okay, 20 years is enough to make you so much money. That's what your
That's a lot
intellectual
of
property
years.
is worth.
you could probably make the money in 10 years, right?
Yeah, of course. That's why those companies, when they make a new product, see how expensive iPhone is when it came out, and it's still expensive nowadays.
You
Right?
can't tell me we can create quantum computers and all of this stuff, but yet we still haven't figured out how to cure cancer, and I think it's because of patents.
No, that I don't know. But I mean,
IP.
yeah, IP. But I mean, if someone can come up with a way to cure a cancer, then of course it's not going to be blocked because nobody have any patent on curing cancer.
And it's not profitable because you can't sell cancer medication.
But I'm sure
anymore.
it's going to be profitable. Like for example, AIDS, right? Like the pill that not cure AIDS, but then say sustain your life. The pills is so expensive. It's because of the patent, right?
You know,
But if you look at because you already not cure AIDS, but then you kind of like maintain your life, then why don't you make it available as cheap as possible to people? No, it doesn't work that way.
I bet you we will find not a cure, but a way to lengthen people's lives before we find out a way to cure cancer. And you know why? Because lengthening people's lives, they will pay whatever, and those are the rich people, and that means you can keep selling them stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Well, true. So where's the motivation of innovation comes from? Right, it's demand and profit. Because I think our whole human industry is driven by profit.
Yeah.
Right. Any scientific research,
It's
driven by
it's
profit.
True. It's true. It's true. Well, I think about this when he was telling me a hockey team will buy the cheap beer over his beer because they can get more of
they
it.
can get more of it,
right.
but they don't value the difference, the quality so much.
Yeah.
So that's one scenario, right? But I
when
mean,
you
there's
talk about
all
everything
kind of
driven by
consumer out
profit,
there.
when you talk about everything driven by profit, like I think I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, what's the motivation for that hockey team? Yes, maybe they can afford more beer, and they'll have less quality beer.
But they have a better time, a longer time. Like,
Sure.
okay, for example, like if you can stay there for like 2 hours, right, and then celebrate some event or whatever, right? So that sounds like a decent time to be in there, right? Where they can spend a reasonable amount of money on the alcohol, right? They would pick that option,
Yeah.
right? But people like you and me maybe say, hey, let's go, try some new product.
Because we like the taste.
We like the taste,
Yeah.
right? We will pick this over that.
Yeah. Because cheap beer doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste like this. This is I
Yeah.
can drink this, and
Yeah.
and not have to think, oh, it's so bitter or whatever. You just do it because you already bought it. But this actually tastes good, right?
Right, it tastes good. Actually, it's good for your digestion too because the cranberry
Yeah.
ingredient, right?
Yeah.
So
It's just tea.
yeah, it just teas like it had
Cranberry.
that kind of taste in there, right?
Yeah.
And not a lot of alcohol content.
No,
I would say, yeah,
It's 3.5%. So
yeah, that's not much.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't have that bitter aftertaste.
No,
right?
no.
So-
Well, I think it's more of a cider, so it's not.
yeah,
a
it's
beer.
a cider, right?
Yeah, so you won't really get that aftertaste. But I mean, this is what I'm talking about, Kevin. I mean, you have something like this, and you say I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. It does cost a little bit more, so maybe you buy it less often.
Yeah, you would buy less often. As actually maybe that's one of the consumer mindset. Like you said, hockey team they would buy cheap beer to celebrate, and maybe other people looking for a better quality of life, then they would pay more for the enjoyment. Right? It's not just cheap beer. So there's different kind of consumer out there, but depends on which kind of consumer is dominant, right? Because I'm sure if this is a good product and people find it good, they would pay more for it.
I wish that's not the case.
So
'Cause my
yeah, I think in some scenario it's different. Like yeah, people drink a lot of beer. Same thing for smoking the cigarette, right? I don't smoke, but before, right? People was because cigarette has become more and more expensive, but the reason why they smoke cigarette is not because they want a good cigarette. They only need nicotine, right?
I don't think there are any good cigarettes.
No, I know. Because but once they get addicted to
But
cigarette.
cigars is different. I like my cigars. I
Yes,
have
cigar.
cigars.
You want Cuban cigar, right? It's like smoking. That's totally
Not necessarily.
a
I
different
mean,
experience. Okay, yeah, good
yeah,
quality
you
cigar,
want a
right?
good quality cigar
Because
and-
you think, oh, I'm already paying so much.
Yeah.
What is the difference? Let's pay a little bit more to get the one that I
And
want.
I don't just buy Cubans. Like sometimes I'll get Dominican. It depends the
Yeah.
taste. If it tastes good and good quality, I'll
Right,
get it.
right.
It doesn't. There's some Cubans that just has the name on there, and it's just I just like oh I don't think I really like that. It's too spicy or whatever.
Yes.
So that's the difference.
So
So, if you look at quality, it can't be just about the name. So let's say Krispy Kreme versus Dunkin' Donuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I've had Dunkin' Donuts before and just tastes like a regular donut. Like, whereas this
Yeah.
actually, I can't remember the last time I had Krispy Kreme. It was probably like over 10 years ago in
Yeah.
Seattle, and I said, wow, this is actually different from a Tim Hortons. It's fluffy.
Yeah, it's fluffy, fresh.
Very light.
It's like fresh because
Yeah.
it's just out of the oven, right? Out of the stove. So the taste is different.
You want another one?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. But yeah, so I think that's what I think. There's a few factors in there to influence the decision on what to buy, right? I mean, in maybe like okay, for example, in the 70s, the North American economy is good. The middle class they have money, so every night, like when they get off work, it's party because they can buy the Cadillacs and nice cars and then go to the bar, drink and dance, enjoy their nightlife. Right, that's a good economy. That's actually a good time
Yeah.
for North American people,
Yeah.
right? Because the economy is good. They don't like they have lots of disposable income, where you see nowadays, right? You can see the difference. A lot of people now go into grocery store instead of eating out. Why? Because we have less and less disposable income nowadays,
Okay.
especially after COVID, right? So you cannot afford to go to the restaurant because simply the food is so much more expensive now. You would rather just go to the grocery store and cook for yourself. That's what it tells. So when this happens, you can tell a lot about the economy.
Okay. Well, can you though? I don't know. The economy is different. The cultures are different. Well, we can talk about, let's say, I want to say Hong Kong or China. Hong Kong has a different culture than, let's say, mainland China too, right?
Yes.
Like in Hong Kong, I believe There's a lot of people that they do appreciate quality, which is why you get people wanting kind of like high price item like shark fin soup and all of these very expensive things, right? Because I never understood why ginseng costs so much money, and it was just
Well,
kind of weird.
those are the rare item, right? It's not just quality. Sometimes it has to do with the things that they get used to.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, they get used to certain product, even though the price gone up, but they will still buy it because they say, hey, I just pay a little bit more, but I still want this product,
Okay.
right? So that happened as well, right? And then maybe if there's another option, it's comparable, right? It's cheaper. Then it would naturally go to get the cheaper product with the same, you know, um, um, quality. Not same quality, yeah, same kind of effect.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. So you're from China. You've lived in Toronto. I've lived in Vancouver and Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And where do you usually have hot pot? Do you get it at Chili Hot Pot or some of the local ones?
Yeah, some of the local ones.
Okay.
I've tried a few because now
Perfect.
the Chongqing.
And how do you like it? Okay.
It's about the same.
Okay. If
It's all about.
Haidi Lao comes to Edmonton, are you gonna go to those anymore?
I would still go to those because
Why?
Hai Di Lao it's meant for how to say, their focus is on service. It actually
Which is
it actually
quality.
give you a very good dining experience. So I mean, if you're looking for that, no problem. Because I mean, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people will go there because they think, oh, I'm paying a little bit more, doesn't matter because I make enough. Right? It's not a problem for me. Then they would actually go there. Right? Same thing as those high class steakhouse, for example.
Sure. Yeah.
They pay a couple of $100 for $300 maybe for a steak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where I can the CACs maybe like $50.
Sure.
Even CAC is it's considered to be
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a luxury place for steak.
Like I went to that hot pot in West Edmonton Mall with.
Oh, yeah, that-
and it was the meat was good,
Yeah.
good quality.
Actually, a lot of people have some positive feedback from
But I
that.
can't- I
It's
can't
good.
go all the time.
You cannot go all the time because simply one meal costs you so much. You just think, oh, is it really? Do I really need that experience? Where I can go to other hot pot place, I can have maybe not as good, right? But it's close. Then I would rather go to those places.
Yeah. So I'm
Right?
guilty too of going to the lower quality place. Well, I don't know. I go to Chili Hot Pot. I think it's okay. The quality is decent.
No, it's okay. Yeah, chili hot pot is it's not bad, right?
Yeah.
So, in terms of having this hot pot experience, I don't think it's too bad, right? It's like not much different. You can argue that yeah, maybe the Western Law place that the meat quality is good. They actually more refined, and give you this sense of high class and.
Kevin, I looked at the menu. They had one item is the Wagyu beef, and they want $120
Yes.
for some slices of Wagyu.
Yes.
I said, no. That's where I stopped
Yes.
because that's insane.
Yeah, yes, the Kobe beef. Like, okay, this news before, like in America, where they pay a couple $100 for the burger. Only Wall Street people can afford that kind of burger. It's not like you can have that every lunch. I don't think most of us do, right? Maybe you can try it once in a while, like okay, $200, maybe $300 dollar burger, right? I won't see how that tastes for sure. I'm sure the beef is good because the way they raise the cattle is different. They never let them walk and whatever, right? And then feed them good material or food. So that's why they of course there's a reason why they charge you so much for that. But I don't think anybody can have that every lunch,
Yeah.
right? If you're on a regular paycheck.
Well,
But I'm saying now, Five Guys is a decent burger.
yeah.
Right? In terms of having a burger.
I mean,
Right?
we just finished complaining about okay, we should support quality.
So I think all we talk about here is depends on what you want and how much you can afford. So a lot of factors in making this decision, right? Like for example, I go to this hot pot place, and that hot pot place depends on what a few factor, right?
Yeah.
Depends on what. It's the same thing as the hockey team buying the beer. Of course, they have their own reasoning, right? It's
Yeah.
not because they don't want to drink good beer. Everybody wants to drink good beer.
Um,
But what is the consequence? What is the consequence of drinking, high quality beer,
what is the
a
consequence?
premium beer, right?
Higher price.
Higher price,
Okay.
exactly.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Let's start with that, right? So it's
Yeah.
higher price, but better quality. Then, what's the? And I'm not saying that I totally have to say it's always you totally forget about price. You only buy higher quality, but I'm asking you if you want to treat your body right and you're gonna buy better quality product, but it's a factor of money too, right? So your
Yes.
budget.
Yes.
So is it the responsibility of the consumer to support the businesses even though they have a higher price, or the businesses to make sure that they come down to a reasonable price?
No, I don't think it's both.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It's
agree.
both.
Yeah.
It's both. It's not like the consumer have to. I don't remember if there's a time people were forced to buy local. I don't know if that happened in the history, but they are in a phenomenon in China. For
See, my
example,
cousin's on the screen saying I'm eating too many donuts. You need to eat more.
no, this is my second one. So, so okay, so when Japan and China gone into bad relationships, gone into bad time, right? So they would say, "We're gonna boycott the Japanese product.
Yeah.
We're not gonna buy Japanese car. We're not gonna buy Japanese food, right? Why? Because they're just in a bad term,
But
right?
is
So,
that-
but then on the other side, they're not forcing people not to buy it, but it's just out of the patriotic mind.
Does that make sense?
I think it makes sense. It happens. It happens.
Even though
Right?
it's a better quality product,
Yes,
you get a Japanese
yes.
car.
Japanese cars better qualities, right? But they're
Yeah.
still boycotting them, right? Out of what? Out
Why?
of the fact that they
Because
don't
of
like
a war
them.
that happened a long time ago.
Oh yeah, that always goes on, always going on,
But-
right? Because for example, if the Japanese dump all the nuclear water into the ocean, that happened too. People get mad, like people from China get mad because they're so close to our sea, because a lot of their fishery,
Yeah.
it's nearby that area, right? So it's gonna have a direct impact on them. So we condemn their activity, but they don't listen. So that's why this movement is gonna go on. Like, okay, we're gonna boycott your product. We're not gonna import your seafood anymore. We're not gonna buy your fruit anymore. We're not gonna do this anymore. We're not gonna do that anymore. That's all natural.
Makes
Isn't
it?
it?
Doesn't make sense though. One of the best cars I
So-
ever owned was Japanese.
I know. But actually, my family's been using Japanese car for a long time. But now, like, I buy F-150. That's I think one of the reason I move away from that is like,
But you complain
I'm
to
not
me
gonna
about your
support
truck all the
Japanese
time.
product.
You complain to me about your truck all the time. Oh, the electronics.
yes,
Cost me this piece of shit.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. That's a perfect example of what of buying good quality, and accepting bad quality because
But
out
because
of,
because you have
let's
some,
not say resentment. It's because my preference.
no,
let's
it's
just say-
resentment. It's resentment.
Yes,
Come on.
if you put it that way, resentment. Right? I simply just don't like that country or whatever, or something that they do. Right?
But you're missing out on a great car.
Exactly. I would rather sacrifice that. I would rather put up with all the flaws that F-150 have. I used to own a Tacoma, which is a Toyota truck.
That's a great truck.
Yeah, but I sold it. I traded in for an F-150
One of the best
for
trucks
the
in
exact
history.
same reason. Right?
You should
And
have
of
sold
course-
it to me.
I don't. No, not
I don't
sold
give
it
a
to you.
shit.
And in fact, yeah. There's a problem with the Tacoma too. It's just like the power, the horsepower is not not so much.
You're
want a
lying.
bigger
You're
car.
making it up because of Japanese. I
No,
know you.
for two reasons. Yeah, yes, definitely. That's one reason, and the other reason is that it has F-150 has a better power, and the fuel economy is not that bad. It's not that bad. It's
Okay.
actually very comparable.
Okay.
You know, so that's one of the reasons. Actually, my brother-in-law and our friends, they all get F-150. Now they both go back to Japanese car, Tacoma. Not Tacoma. The
Tundra.
Tundra, yes, the Tundra. They both go back to Tundra because they cannot stand F-150 because they have so much problems. It breaks down at 100,000 kilometer.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the quality of.
How long are you going to hold a grudge against the Japanese then?
I don't know. As long as I still have the resentment.
It didn't happen to you.
It does. It did not happen. Yeah, that's actually a very very good discussion. You know, when now there's a talk between a younger generation between the Chinese and the Japanese. So the way they argue Japanese is say, hey, we did not go to the war and kill your ancestor, your father, your grandfather. We did not do that. Why are you blaming us? It seems like a reasonable. It seems like a reasonable argument,
Sure.
isn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
They didn't do it, but did they benefit from it? Definitely, because they take so much away from China in terms of gold, right? They rob, like everywhere they go, they take all the valuables. It's even the those items in the museum.
How far do your principles go? Will you take a cure from cancer from the Japanese?
Yes, that's a very good question.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think?
What do I think? So I think I would if it's good for me, right? So maybe you're saying, oh, you should stick to your principle, right? If you hate them so much, then don't take any good from them, at all. But I think the way that this whole society, or not the society, like in terms of how the mankind works, is that we always try to keep a good faith for the mankind. We're blaming the Japanese. It's not because we still want to a revenge on them. We just want them to admit the mistake that they make, and they will not do it again.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
now they still don't, right? They still don't admit that. Of course, I mean, from their own own standpoint, like they're only doing for the good of the people, right? I think every country, would say the same thing, for our own development, for better survival of our race, of our country. Same thing for what you just mentioned at the very beginning. Like, okay, this Tim Hortons used to, owned by Canadians, but now, like, this foreign company comes in, and the whole sentiment, it actually boiled down to one thing: the survival of your identity. Because if Canadian no longer Canadian, let's say one day Trump say, hey, yeah, let's turn Canada into a 51 state, then maybe Canada no longer exists, right? So maybe we will struggle for a couple of generations because you still have that identity, sense of identity in your mind, right?
I don't know, but when we went to have ramen, ramen is Japanese, right?
Yes, but it's run by Chinese people. None of them. It's only the name is kind of Japanese.
How do you know? Did you research that restaurant?
Yeah,
before
the
we went?
restaurant is owned by Hong Kongese people.
Oh, you already know?
Yeah, I already know. I actually know the guy. They have another location in the brewery district.
Okay. I was gonna bring up your hypocrisy, but then
Yeah,
I'm thinking,
I know.
Okay, how about the hypocrisy of a Chinese person running a Japanese restaurant?
Yeah, it's actually a very split in act between Chinese people, because actually, I questioned myself before. Like, okay, a lot of Chinese people buy Japanese car
Yeah.
because I think you don't think Japanese people know that Chinese people are gonna revenge on them. One day, it's a payback time. So all the building the economy is that they actually like developing their military as well, because they know one day this is gonna come, right? So every car that you buy, every Japanese product that you buy, it's gonna go to the military expense, the budget. So in a way, if you buy that, you're kind of helping them. So it's almost like, oh, you helping your enemy to develop their weapon to be used on yourself. How ironic is that?
I don't know. To me, I still feel the war has been like long time ago, right?
Yeah.
70-ish years.
Yes.
But I feel like you are the kind of guy who can
But the,
hold
but the,
on
but
to
the trauma is still there. Generations, people still cannot get over that.
when you get over the trauma.
Yeah.
How about the Chinese head tax in Canada? Right? Are you going to get over that? Like, I think this
Actually,
is
that doesn't bother me so much
why?
because
That's
I think,
racism.
yeah. I think when I come to Canada, I pay for the head tax.
No,
Right?
you didn't.
You were born here, you didn't know.
No, but you didn't pay for it. It's the people in that.
Yeah, immigrant.
era.
That's in that era. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
you do.
maybe you paid in
You should.
another way,
but they do. I think they do apologize for that. Like,
Yeah, they already
they
apologized.
already apologized.
Okay, so now you're okay.
So now I'm okay. We're even. So as
But
long
they
as
only
you, as long
recently-
as you admit that, like
Only
it's
recently
a
they
mistake.
apologized.
I think that's what it is because I think you cannot like go on it forever, going on and on to say, hey, yeah, you did the wrong thing. I just when it get off, you're
That's
back.
what I'm talking about. Why can't
Because
you
one
forgive?
day you have to just forgive and forget.
Yes.
Right? And
Yes.
move on.
Yeah.
And we all live in peace.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. Right? But if you don't, right, you keep insisting that I did nothing wrong. I didn't apologize for that. But yet you benefit from that. Right? Because like for example, you let's not get into that Luigi Certain and then the CEO's family. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, so let's not get into that because that's a bigger discussion, more controversial. But yeah, so during the invasion for the Japanese army in China, right? They did actually a lot of biological
I know.
research.
But can I say something?
Use real human.
Can I say something?
So they collected all those data.
yeah. Can I say something about
Yes.
that? Both Germans and Japanese
Yes,
did that.
they did that.
But do you also know that they actually found a lot of interesting medical
Yes.
information?
So now you're saying that it's useful for mankind.
I'm not saying it was right, but I'm saying there is some good that came out of it too.
Like I'm saying, nothing is pure good or nothing is pure bad. Because then you say, okay, the same thing as what if the Japanese has like a way to cure cancer and you almost die? Would you going to use it? Right? So it's almost like a dilemma now, right? You hate them so much, but then they can save your life. Like how are you going to choose? So it's just like a moral and you're hypocrite. You kind of split in those.
Yeah.
It's a difficult choice. But I think it all depends.
I guess the question is,
I would say
how long do you be mad for?
How long did I be
How
mad
long
for?
should you be mad for?
Until they apologize and admit their wrongdoing.
Okay.
I think that's all Chinese people is asking for, but they would not admit it.
Okay, that's fair.
Right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
And they haven't in
They
any,
haven't.
in
They
any
haven't.
fashion.
They
In any
they
fashion.
actually have temples for those military people. They die in there, so they call it the Soul Temple or whatever, right? And then every year, the leader, prime minister or whatever, go pay respect. So that's what pisses Chinese people off, because that means you don't admit the wrongdoing, right? It's not just Chinese people, the Korean people, like the Vietnamese people, Malaysia too, because they invade the entire, east, not just one country. They become so big that the invasion is so horrific,
Yeah.
right? So if the American didn't drop 2 bombs to stop the war, I don't know how long it's gonna last and how many more people is gonna die, right? But they don't admit that they did it wrong.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
So really, I actually think about from their perspective as well. Like when you look at this kind of historical happening, in the past, this war, right? I mean, from them, like for Japanese people, all they want is to live or live better, because their population is huge. Like such a tiny island, 1.2 2 billion or 2 billion. I don't know how many, but lots. But how are they going to sustain the population? And I think the island is also sinking as well. Lots of earthquakes happening, natural disaster. So the way to get out of that is to just invade another country and build your not economic build your country there.
Have you heard of the saying?
It's taking over the land to find a better place to live.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But have you heard of the saying, waiting for another person to ask for forgiveness or apology
Yeah.
is like taking poison and hoping the other person will die. Because you don't get to move on. You don't get to move on with your life because you're waiting for that person to
Yes,
forgive.
yes. So unfortunately, that's what it is. Because I think if you still have this hatred in your heart, in your mind, you will not rest. You still like push, and you still fight.
But why
The
can't we
conflict will
just
still
why can't we
happen.
just forgive them without them apologizing? Just say
It's
okay,
not
whatever.
forgivable.
Not forgivable.
It's not our right to forgive because our ancestors died. Because our ancestors need to forgive them. You can say, "Oh, just ask your ancestors to forgive
that's my
them."
point.
I don't think ancestors will forgive
That's
them.
my point. It's the ancestors' problem, not your problem.
But we are as the inheritance, actually as a country, this still goes on. There's no closer to that yet, right? Because what is your identity?
But you're inheriting a grudge.
You're inheriting the spirit of your ancestor, right? So, for example, there's actually
I think
this is
you
very
don't-
common.
I think you choose to inherit it.
That well, not choose to because same thing as did you choose to inherit the Canadian culture? No, and the Canadian
No, I
identity.
choose to adopt it.
No, you're not. You have no choice because
100%.
you're born.
I'm Chinese too.
No, I know how much Chinese that you are, but you're not so Chinese. You basically take the Canadian identity because your mindset is Canadian.
I'm insulted.
I
I'm
know, I
Chinese.
know.
Look at me. Look at my eyes. Come on.
Are you in here? Okay.
I get to be Chinese too.
No, I know what it's like to be Chinese, but you're definitely not so Chinese. Okay,
How
you
do you
only
know
look
that?
Chinese.
How do I?
That's why I proposed our YouTube channel called Mango and Banana. Right? I'm the mango. You're the banana.
That's not fair.
Okay. Yeah, show me. You have to prove it because what we believe is different. I know the difference
No.
because I live in both countries. Because I know the culture over there, and I kind of understand the
Not
Canadian
100%
culture.
true. I've heard from other family members their hate towards Japanese and whatever, and maybe even people of my generation.
Yeah.
It's like, why? It doesn't affect you. Even Canadian Chinese, like they have this
Because I
they
think-
have this thing where they want to adopt some sort of trauma, and I said,
Because the impact of the war is not just stop when the guns stop. It has a long-term impact to the next generation and the next generation. The trauma doesn't stop right there. It stops it's like bang and nothing happened and it's gone. It doesn't work that way.
okay, let's
So
say
the trauma actually goes on because it's like, for example, okay, in China, this is actually this saying, someone who killed your dad, your parent, you will never let them live on the same earth than you. So that means you have
Sure.
to
but
revenge.
then that's
you
direct,
have to revenge for your parent.
that's directly related. So let's say, but how about the great grandson?
Exactly, same thing.
So the
same
great
thing.
grandson
yes,
also?
Yes, also.
Really?
Yes. If you don't, like if your this generation did not success, the next generation will take over the torch and continue the revenge.
I don't know. I
Yes,
think forgiveness.
that is the belief in the Chinese culture.
I think holding that kind of generational grudge without forgiveness, or you allow that stigma to carry on through generations, and I just don't think it's necessary or right or mentally healthy.
Yeah, no. Then again, yeah. So I mean, yeah. So revenge or not, it seems like that's another discussion, right? You should physically like go kill their next generation or not. I don't know, but I think most of the what I'm talking about, it's just an apology. It's just
Sure.
admit that you.
But Kevin,
the
you're
wrong
telling
way.
me I'm more Canadian.
then-
I'm more Canadian than Chinese. Should I be hating German people now because we were in a war against them before?
I don't know, but okay, so I don't even know what is general Canadian population, thought on that in German.
We're Canadian.
Yeah,
We went to war with them in World War II.
yeah, but it's not direct conflict. It's just that
It is
you're just
100%.
an
We
ally.
were.
You're just an ally against like you have the British, because you're the British
No,
colony.
that's not true at all. And in fact,
But
what was it?
but
war.
the German did not invade Canada, right? You
Yeah,
just
but
take
hey,
part in the war
So
because it's
no,
like
no, no.
we're
Okay, let's
we're
let's think about the war. What was it called? The War of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So there's a Canadian battalion
Yeah.
that fought for Hong Kong when I think it was the Japanese invaded. I think they all went to prison or died or something. But it's that we were fighting against Japanese. Why don't I hate the Japanese? I'm Canadian.
I think that's a little bit different because it's not as personal. Because I think you're only fighting an ideology, fighting for your own belief. Just like nowadays, well, we're fighting terrorists, right? So you have to give the purpose of fighting a war. Otherwise, what are you fighting for? Right? That's what I'm saying. Did the German invade Canada and make people suffer here? No, because the war zone does not take place in Canada. But why you just go into another country and fight the Germans? You're fighting for your belief. You say, "Oh, I'm fighting for my freedom,"
Okay.
but has those people did anything to you?
I see
No,
what you're
they
saying.
did not.
Well, they did to those Canadians.
Some Canadians.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. You're saying
Right?
because Japan
But
invaded.
okay, it's the same
No,
thing
no,
to your
stop.
argument. They only did it to your ancestor, but they didn't to you. Okay,
no, I
but
see
then
what-
you're saying,
but-
they just did it to some Canadian, but
Yeah.
that Canadian is not you.
But
you just say, hey, I'm taking the Canadian identity. I should find them as
Right.
well because I'm Canadian.
But you're taking it
You see
more,
what I'm saying?
But you're taking it more personally because they invaded China. They invaded the country, not
Yes,
just
yes.
damage the people.
It's
but,
our homeland. It's the
Okay.
place that we live,
yeah, yeah.
right? And that's how our race or nation, live and
No.
and raise our generations.
I think if somebody
Right.
invaded Canada,
Right, but now you just say that argument. Say, hey, they only did it to a few Canadians, but I'm saying they didn't do it to you. But why would you go to war to fight them?
how about the British? The British
Exactly.
invaded Canada. The French, those things. Why not hate them forever?
Because I think that is because then what the Canadian is basically also from Europe. It's kind of like a friendly fight between the same people. Why would you hate each other? It's almost like you fight with your body and the next day you make up. Okay, yeah, well, cool. Drink a beer, like, oh, well, good now. It's like that. But what's interesting is
Yeah, I'm trying to. I respect your argument. Okay.
Yes.
I can't agree with it because
what's
there's too many
part of it
holes.
is you don't agree.
There's too many holes because number one, the fact that we're a global species now, right? With humans all over the place. We have
Yes.
immigration here. We have
Yes.
multicultural identity in Canada, mosaic, whatever you want to call it,
Yes.
right? And you as a Canadian, I think you respect the fact that we have different cultures here, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't respect it as that much, but
No, I acknowledge that.
You acknowledge
Let's put it that way. I acknowledge that because I know like the Indians, Chinese, Vietnamese,
you adopt a
Japanese,
Canadian culture.
Korean. They all have their own mind. And some people barely speak English. How would you expect them to assume the Canadian culture and identity, right? Maybe they can sing. They can't even sing the anthem, their national anthem, right? So it's mosaic, right?
Would you go to a Japanese-owned sushi place?
I had sushi before,
Yeah.
but it's owned by Chinese.
Only, but
There's some Japanese. I even know some of my friends. They marry a Japanese girl, right?
oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
Then how can you keep friends with them?
Oh yeah, no, because he went to Japan twice to ask the permission, the blessing to marry the Japanese girl, but the father did not agree. Did not
Yeah.
even
Yeah, they didn't bless the.
They
the
did not
marriage.
bless his. Not they didn't even. He refused to see him.
Okay. How about you? Are
That's
they
how it is.
Are they still your friend?
You are, yeah, they're still my friend.
Okay, but they married a Japanese person.
No, I talked to the Japanese this girl,
Yeah.
like, you know, that's why I say hi. No, I'm not. It's like that.
Yeah.
So because I don't know, like maybe she believes that, you know, we did nothing wrong, and if you bring it to that point, then maybe
Yeah.
that's a deal breaker, right? Like, am I,
Okay.
we
Well,
have
okay. Let's say
conflict.
let's say you have dinner with your Japanese friend and
Yeah,
his wife.
then you started a fight
And-
just because you believe in that. I believe in this. Then yeah,
Then
it's
he's no
dinner.
longer your friend.
You're no longer friends. That's how it is.
Really?
That's how it is. That's how it is. Isn't it?
You can't just not be friends with his wife and then just be friends with your friend.
Oh no, with him, like yes, of course. But I'm just saying with his wife, because I mean, yeah. So actually, that's a very, very sensitive question, right? Like, okay, because you hate his wife, you're supposed to end your friendship with your friend as well. As well, I don't know. Like,
If I tell you right now, I say, you know what? I don't think the Japanese need to apologize. What's done is done. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Are we no longer friends?
that's your opinion. I forgive you for saying that. Because you just simply don't know so much. Because I think
Because I'm uneducated.
no, not educated. Because it doesn't really matter to you.
Yeah.
It does not matter to you. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just take whatever position that you can take.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't think that's enough to ruin our friendship. I'll just put it that way. But I mean, if you just say, if there's a war breakout between China and Japan, you're gonna help Japan. You're gonna go join the Japanese army, right? Then maybe that's the end of our friendship.
Yeah.
We can be friends before the war. Then you know, as soon as you go to the field, then we're gonna shoot each other.
No,
That's
I
how it
don't,
is.
I don't believe in joining another country's
No, that's
army,
exactly hypothetically
Yeah.
speaking, right? That's how things evolve. Like when it, you know, turned into that.
But I do believe if you're waiting for an apology and it's not
No,
gonna happen,
I don't think it's gonna happen.
then,
I don't think it's
then
gonna
why
happen.
stress yourself out?
No. It's just that we have not stressed because I think we have to put it on the table. It's like this is an option. We're not saying we will put, you know, we'll go to war with you to resolve this matter.
See, I think
Right?
I think you look at the Chinese head tax, and we didn't even need the apology. We already moved on. We created
I know.
successful
I
business.
think for
I-
the same argument, right?
I think
you can say,
there's too many cultures that are held back because they keep thinking that, oh, I need someone to apologize for me, otherwise we can't become better, we can't educate ourselves, we can't do all of these things, and it holds cultures back from becoming better just by waiting for someone to ask for an apology.
no, we're not stopping getting better or stronger by waiting because we're just putting that option there. Because the ultimate belief is that you have to make yourself stronger at any time.
Yeah.
We're not just say asking or waiting for an apology. We're just saying, yeah, that's an option.
But
Right?
but you
because
know what?
ultimately, what if like
Yeah.
Japan will invade China again, right? It's a possibility, right? If Japan becomes so strong, or its ally, right? It's gonna invade China, start a war again. It's possible, likely.
I think what holds Asian cultures back is a lot of this idea of face, right? They don't want to lose face.
Okay,
Because
let's put it that way.
let me put it this way: would China ever apologize for Tiananmen Square? Would they apologize for the Hong Kong protests or all these things?
No, they're not gonna
Never,
apologize
right?
for never. No, why would they?
Because it was wrong.
Yes, to you is wrong, but to them is right, right?
But they broke the promise.
No, I think that's the truth for everything, even
Yeah.
for the war. Like I was saying, right? Even for the war, Japan invade China. Of course, they have the reason, they have the motivation. To them, it's right,
Yeah.
right? So that's why everybody, you know, in Japan at that time supported the invasion. We call it an invasion. They call it for better prosperity, wouldn't it?
Which
Right? If you
invasion are
really
talking about?
look into what war is really about.
What invasion? You're talking Russia?
No, the invasion of Japan in China.
Oh, Japan invading China.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we call it invasion,
Yeah.
right? By definition, because one army go into another country and then killing and then robbing everything and then clean them out like whatever, right? So that's called invasion. But to them, well, we're not invading. We're just making your life better. That's their argument. We're just helping you, right,
Yeah.
to live better. That's their argument. See, when you come from different perspective, things are different. Your logic is different,
Yeah.
right? So who's right and who's wrong? I think that's what we're trying to settle here.
But if we look
But
at
is
the,
that right or wrong?
but we look at the historical context.
Yes.
At that time, that's when Puyi was emperor,
Yeah.
and he is weak.
Yeah, he's
Right.
weak because I think
He's a puppet.
Yes, because that's the end of the Qing dynasty.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it
Can
it
you
meant to
can you
go.
also argue
It's
the
meant
fact
to
that
go.
when China was invaded by Japan,
Mm-hmm.
because Puyi was a puppet, you didn't have a strong leader at the time, right? To not allow that. Is that
But that's actually the reality, right? I think that's time when the dynasty is interchanging because the Qing dynasty is done, it's near the end, and then the Chiang Kai-shek, right, the other party, it's on the rise. They kind of take over because of Sun Jong-san, right?
Sun Yat-sen,
Sun Yat-sen, he's the president. He was not the president. He doesn't want to be the president.
Yeah.
He make the other guy the president, but then it lasts only for 15 days, right? So then there's actually the CPP going on, right? They also rise in China back then, and then eventually turned into a civil war between the CPP and Chiang Kai-shek, right?
CCP,
so
right?
The CCP,
Yeah.
the CCP. So but then CCP won, and then they take power, right? That's how history play out, right? That's what it is. So I think the time when Japan invaded China, yes, because that's the weakest time of China. Because then Chiang Kai-shek was not a strong leader. He does not lead China to do better economy, right? So it's a continuum, and maybe I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have enough time, or maybe he had the wrong idea of managing the country. So China at that time, it's a weak country. So that's why Japan can invade China. Because think about it, like so many, the population is so big in China, but then look at Japan, right?
Yeah.
They can invade China and all those other countries, right? Simply they have a better weapon, better technology at that time, right? But they have planes, airplane, where CCP does not have it. Right? Maybe there's only a few. I think it's actually donated by America at that time, right? So that's why they kind of like has no power to fight the Japanese. Although they're fighting, but they're losing,
Okay.
right?
Let's circle back to our original point
Yes.
of discussion. Let's say we are Canadian and we have American companies and we
Yes,
don't
yes.
agree, and let's parallel it with your feelings about Japan.
Yeah.
So now that Trump won, and I don't know where you feel, like, are you happy or not happy? You don't like Trump? You like Trump? What?
I think it's a mix from I think the one thing is that if you're gonna put the tariff on Canada, so everybody's gonna get impacted, got affected right, by that, because simply we need to pay more tax out of that because of that simple reason. So for that, I disagree. So but you say I don't like Trump, maybe,
Okay.
right? And because of that, right? So we have
Then
to
should we be eating Krispy Kreme donuts? It's
we
American.
may have to boycott that at some point.
Tim Hortons?
Yeah, maybe support local, for example. This
Right?
right?
Boycott Tim
we have to
Hortons?
support local. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. The circle back is like, okay, how much what is your motivation? What you have to weight it in, right? Quality, or your patriotic.
Can you afford to support
passion.
local? All the time?
Not all the time. So that's the dilemma, right? But then at the same time, if the local become too expensive, they have to adjust too. Right? It's I think that it's a
What
dynamic.
if they can't? Like, they can't compete against the price of these donuts.
No, I mean if everybody's boycotting them, they eventually gonna go out of business in Canada.
Sure.
Right?
But,
If
I mean,
everybody
We know that's
But
not going to
unfortunately,
happen
it's not going to happen
because they don't feel as strongly as you.
exactly. So that's why, because if only become only a few idea or option
Yeah.
or thinking to say, hey, we should boycott them, then it's not going to matter anyway.
I
Right.
respect your.
But if a lot of Canadians rises and hey, think,
Yeah.
hey, this is going to be bad for us as a nation, we
Yeah.
should boycott them.
But I respect.
If we reach that point, yes.
I respect you sticking to your principles, saying, okay, I'm not going to buy Japanese, I'm not going to do all these things, but how far does that go? Right? Because, I mean, again, how many Fords are you going to buy before you just say, holy smokes, like, I can't keep buying garbage?
Yes, yes. See. That's the thing about belief and not value. I think ultimate question is survival. Would you sacrifice your life for what you believe?
Well,
Because I think even patriotic identity, all this, it's just a belief. You can have this belief, and for example, you believe in the Canadian identity, and then maybe other people believe in like some other identity, right? Why? Simply they just naturally inherited that because they were born in there, they were whatever in there, right? It's the belief, right? So in a life and death situation, because if you die, simply nothing gonna remain.
I think we
it
have-
doesn't matter you believe in what.
Yeah.
When you die, it will be gone.
But I think we
so
have
that's
levels.
the existential questions that
Yeah.
would you die for your belief?
I would say
So that's what you ultimately
I would say
asking.
I would say yes for my core belief system, but for things that don't matter as much, yes.
Yes.
I'm not going to
So
die for a donut.
You're not gonna die if
I'm
you
not going
don't
to die
eat
for a
that
donut,
donut.
but I'll die for my family.
Yes. Yes. So your family matter more to you.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So, but I think maybe there's more, something else matter more than your family.
Sure. Sometimes my patriotism, because
Yes.
there's a reason why
Yes,
I
yes, yes.
went and joined the army,
So
because I'm
exactly,
willing to die.
Exactly. So yes. So there's always a something that matter, or you think it matter,
But
it's
not for a
only,
donut.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
so
for this.
The
Buy local
donut
versus
only
international.
a trivial,
Yeah.
things to matter.
Yeah.
In terms of in that
Yeah.
sense, right? But there's always a degree of matter, like how much it matter to you compared to your existence. That's the same question that I'm asking. Would you die for your belief, and what belief,
Yes. So
right?
if
I don't think you're gonna die for the donut.
no, that doesn't
right?
matter to me as
Maybe
much as.
you're gonna die for your family,
But
your son, your
I'll
daughter,
die.
right? You maybe die for your country if you do really believe in that,
Yeah.
right? So, but what is that matter to you, a country, right? Actually, that's an interesting point. It's like, okay, your country, it's actually not a physical thing. It's just an idea in your head,
Correct.
right? It's just like the hockey team. You watch hockey, right? Like the Oilers and the Flames. Sometimes it's like you want to kill each other. Like the nature of these professional sport, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But why you develop this hatred against each other? Because crush them, kill them, and whatever, right? Because you simply assume the identity of your hockey club. It's like I represent this. Represent my value. It's not even value. It's just then ego to ego, or what is it better to you? It's just your entertainment. It's just your entertainment. It's not your life. It's not why like the soccer teams in England, right? It's like that too. They're almost like
Oh, yeah.
Right?
But that's just me though. I'm not going to die for the Oilers.
Yeah.
But there are people who will start.
But to a
fights.
certain extent, yes,
They'll do it for
believe so
soccer.
much, because I think there's one time I was working for a consulting company in Toronto, and then we have to go to Montreal for a project, and we lived there for like 8 months, and then there was the Toronto Maple Leafs was playing against Montreal Habs. So it turns out that my whole team, a consulting team, it's Asian, IT company. So afterward, we the our the employer, they got tickets for the game, so everyone had the ticket, and then we like go to the VIP section and had the food and everything. So we went into the bar, right, and we had that table, so we're surrounded by the Habs fans,
Yeah.
and it just happened that the Leafs scored, and one of my friends is saying, he doesn't even scream out loud because if he does, he's gonna get killed in that bar.
So he's not willing to die for the Leafs.
No, he does not willing to
Yeah.
die for the Leafs.
Yeah. Got it.
It's just not worth it. Although he's a very strong Leaf fan,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because we're like sitting down, it's like, and when the Habs, what's funny is that when the Habs score, the Habs fan from the other table try to high five him. He had to do this. So that's very, very funny
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's so scared that if he doesn't, that means, hey, you just a Leafs game in our bar. Like, this is my place, and you dare to come into my bar, and then right?
Yeah.
So it's like that. It's
okay.
like that.
Yeah, and I've seen that before, but we're
Right?
talking about something more serious.
Yeah.
here,
So
in the sense
that's what I'm
that-
saying.
Yeah.
That it's not that serious. It's not a life and death situation. It just, you may think, yeah, it's just a hockey team that I support, right? It may be part of my passion. It's my passion, but I'm not willing to die for that passion. It's simply stupid, right? It doesn't matter that much that I can sacrifice my life for Oilers or any other hockey team.
Yeah.
That would be stupid, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But maybe some people will, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I
Right?
guess I don't.
Then you call those people crazy.
I think you get a little extreme when you say are willing to die for a hockey team. Now, when someone fights in
Yeah.
a hockey game,
Yeah, yeah.
like a fan fights another
Yeah,
fan,
yes, yes.
you
It
could say
happened.
maybe
It
they
happened.
they think they're willing to die,
Yes.
but they just want to fight.
But they just get caught in that situation. But it's triggered by the identity that they take to say it's my team.
Yeah.
That's all I believe. Or I don't know if it's a belief, but it's the culture.
Yeah.
Like the culture, it's that, right? Die an Oilers fan, live an Oilers fan.
Yeah, I love the Oilers. I will go to I've been to Vancouver and Toronto and whatever,
Yeah.
wearing my Oilers jersey
Yeah.
just because. But you know what? I've got some people, don't say anything.
Yeah,
Some people make fun of it.
make
Some
fun of
people say, hey,
Yeah.
Oilers are doing great this year, right?
Yeah,
So-
you would have some gut to show up in another arena
I'm a
wearing
fan.
a jersey.
I'm a fan. I
Yeah,
love the
you're a
Oilers,
fan. You're a
and,
fan.
and I'm gonna go and I'll support the Oilers wherever I go.
Yeah.
But am I willing to die for them? No.
No,
I'm not
right?
going to fight another human being just because we have a difference in which hockey club we like. It's stupid.
It is stupid,
But that's why.
right? Because
But this
compared
is-
to your life,
that's what I'm
compared
saying,
to your
though.
dear life,
That's what I'm.
you say
Kevin,
it's stupid.
Kevin, that's what I'm saying. How far do you take this? So let's say you don't like the Japanese because what happened 70 years ago, over 70 years ago.
Yeah.
Is it really that important to?
No, time doesn't matter because I think
Oh.
it's just that if it's still threatened to your survival, right? Like I said, the war still may happen in the future because if they don't correct the
But you
the
can't
mind-
forgive without an apology.
I don't think so. That's not how it works. But maybe in higher sense, maybe a belief like a Christian belief, right? I know this guy killed another man's son, right? And the pastor, I think, and the pastor forgive him. It's like, oh, I forgive you, right? Whatever, because God, I don't accept that this is God's plan. I forgive you for what you've done to my son. Although it's very sad to him, he's lost his son, right?
So what does Buddhists?
Buddha say yes. Buddha is
Hold a
also
grudge
like in
for
the
the rest of your
religious
life?
or believe in that sense is that the Buddha say, hey, you kill me, I kill you. How is this gonna end? It's
Yeah.
never gonna end,
Yeah.
right? It's never gonna end.
Okay.
Only when you reconcile, right? You admit that I did it wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize.
So-
And I never do that again. Then we're gonna live in peace, in harmony, right? Even that, right? But I mean, if you never gonna realize that you did
So
it wrong,
you,
but
Kevin-
you say I'll do it if I have to do it. I'll do it next time.
So you, Kevin, cannot have peace until Japan apologizes.
There's
You're
a
really going to
time.
live your life like that.
No, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it. Like at least.
But it
like
sounds
that.
like you are.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, right? This has
Yeah.
to be done, right?
Yeah.
No matter when. Maybe not in my lifetime, right?
Okay.
Maybe in the next lifetime. So
Okay.
who knows? But I don't know. Like that's the history, right, of mankind. It's like the killing never stop,
So you
right? It's for what?
You're gonna hold a grudge against every Japanese person for the rest of your life until it.
But
they
not all
apologize?
Japanese. I actually have Japanese friends,
Okay.
right? I have Japanese friends, like long time ago when I was going to university, right? I have
Yeah.
Japanese friends. I'm not like try to stab them, like
I'm surprised. I'm so surprised.
no. Well, as long as they don't like represent that. I may stay away from them if they say they don't feel it's wrong or whatever, right? So
But they're still your friends.
I don't know. I haven't seen them for a long time, so But I'm not like try to do anything to them, right?
How do I know now? I mean,
Oh.
after all this talk, I was just like, shit, I better be careful. I got lots of Japanese
No,
products
you
here.
you're a Canadian. You don't maybe you don't understand, right? So like you said, like Canadian went to war with Germany, but we don't have so much hatred. Sure, because it does not do a lot of damage. here in
America's
Canada.
invaded us. Look.
Yeah, so this kind of invasion is not serious, right? We can choose not to eat the donut. Then what does it matter to me? It's like that. So, but I think one thing is that we should not use principle on every single things. Otherwise, you're gonna live in a very in a very confused world here. Because I think this interrelation of war and French and partnership and like the whole human society evolved in a way such that it never gonna be like peaceful. There's always be conflict. It's always conflict and corporations,
Okay.
right? Like even China, right? After the People's Republic of China was formed back in 1949, right? So then the second generation of the leadership that he actually went to Japan, right? And say, hey, let's develop economy together. That's why the Japanese business go into China. They sell cars in there. They build factories in there, right? It's not like, okay, we're gonna help you. You didn't apologize. We're never gonna forgive you. You're never gonna do anything in China. No. So there's always this conflict and cooperation happen hand in hand.
What does communism mean to you?
Communism, it's actually also an ideology, but then you can say it's dictatorship. That's what it appears to.
But what does it mean to you? Because from what I've understood is everybody's equal, everybody has the same amount, everyone shares the wealth.
Yeah,
whatever,
it's
right?
almost like a utopian society.
Is China communist?
Not right now, it's not.
But it says Chinese Communist Party.
It's hybrid. Hybrid, like
Chinese
Communist
Party.
Communist. No, it's hybrid communist capitalism.
It says right in the name, Chinese Communist Party, right?
No. The party, yes, they still believe in what they believe.
Yeah.
But the way they implement that is different now. They change the course of how they.
But it
they
doesn't
get
fit
there.
Chairman Mao's ideals. What
Yeah, it's
he
ideal. It's still they want
envisioned for
they,
the country.
Mission, yes, they still want to realize that maybe AI is going to help that happen. Exactly.
How? You're
Because
gonna take?
if they build robot, right?
Do you honestly think you're gonna take from the Chinese Communist Party members,
Mm-hmm.
and they earn so much money, so that the Douyin or the TikTok stars are gonna
Yeah,
make
so-
the same
so-
amount of money
I
as
know,
as
because-
the Uber drivers?
Yeah, no. Because I think this is it's just in progress, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, when they started it, when China first implemented the capitalist, like free market
Yeah.
economy, free market economy, that means allow people to start their own business and do the capitalist practice. right? So what they're saying that the rationale for that is that, oh, we allow certain people to get rich first, right? And then later on, when we develop our economy to a certain point, we have to like get everybody rich. It's a progress.
How can everybody be rich?
It's hard to imagine, right? What rich means to you.
I don't know.
Have a lot of money, have a big deposit account in the bank. That
A
means rich.
house, car, $1 million in my
Yeah.
bank
So
account.
if I say in the future you can have all that and you don't have to work for it.
I wouldn't believe you because there's not enough
Okay.
money.
So my argument is that if AI is coming around and it's owned by the government and the government is for the people, everything is done by AI. They grow fruit, prepare food, grow crops, or whatever, and they do all that. The human is not involved in any aspect of that, right? They can make car, but maybe in the future you don't even need a nice car anymore. Maybe you don't need a nice house anymore, right? What if they can say, hey, anywhere you want to go, we have this transportation system can take you anywhere. It's free because the robot, basically, a car is a robot. But now these things become more intelligent, right? So in that case, then all you need just say, hey, whatever I need to do. Let's say today I want to go travel. I want to go climb this mountain today, right? Then you can say, hey, yeah, I just request that, and then the robot will come pick me up and take me there.
Yeah.
What kind of car do you need? Right? Maybe your motion will change. Your mindset will change. You no longer need to own like a Lamborghini, like you have to drive on the street, where you go for going 5 miles an hour in the traffic. What is the point?
Yeah.
Right? When things change, when technology develop, our mindset will also change as well, right? So because I think in the past is that our ancestors, because they're living in this time and space in the history, because they don't have simply they have what they have at that time,
Yeah.
right? And is limited by that. Same thing. Now we're limited by what we have right now, right? So in the future, when technology come about, maybe energy is no longer be a problem. Let's say one day we can develop a battery that can last, I don't know, 100 years, right? Possible, right? If science or technology become that advanced, right? The energy it's endless, right? You can just like Iron Man, just put that one battery in his chest and it can run for years,
Yeah.
right? So one day that may be realized, right? So I'm just saying in the future, but definitely not now, because we're not in that mindset yet. But when things change, the human mindset was going to change.
Do you think communism is possible, or would you
I think
even
it's possible.
would you even want communism?
It's not that I want or not. I think if it's that's the direction that we're heading, it's almost like a mankind's dream to have like a utopian society. Maybe one day that's gonna be realized. We don't see that because
I have all these monitors and I have all this cool stuff.
Yeah.
Not everyone can have that.
I know, but look at these as a tool, right?
Yeah.
Also entertainment, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying in the future is that you don't need to own this to have the same kind of entertainment. Maybe you're gonna use your monitor to create your invoice and then do all kind of economic activities, because you need to have that. But I'm saying in the future, this no longer matter. It's no longer relevant, right? You don't need these tools. Why would you, right?
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know, like 2 centuries ago, it's critical to own a horse because you want to simply, go faster from one place to another. So that become a must have. Like, oh, I have this nice horse, right? But nowadays, do you still need a horse? No, you don't. Right? It's like that. Time change, and things will change.
I don't think they'll change that much.
It is, but we're just talking here,
Humans
right?
are a-
But I'm saying we're just heading that way.
Humans are a funny animal. We're greedy.
I know human greed, because I think greed is that same thing. See, if we really want to talk about ideology here now, it's because the West believe in capitalism, right? And then the East is more on communism. So you see this all the conflict in the world come from ideologies. It's the conflict of the two. Our human is just maybe just like a temple taking on loading this idea, and then this idea would dictate our behavior to start a war or whatever, because you don't agree with me, you're a different kind, you're a threat to my existence or whatever, right? So that still goes on, but who do you think would be better for mankind in the future? I mean, capitalism or communism?
Truthfully, I think capitalism is more realistic.
In realistic in a way that now
Communism.
what we see now.
Communism, impossible.
Okay, you just think it's impossible, but you would like to have if it's possible.
Not really.
No, you don't want
to be-
you don't want utopian
Honestly,
society.
I like having more stuff than.
No, I'm just saying. Yes, you still have the same mindset of only more. Like,
No,
oh, I
no,
have this, I have that.
I-
But I'm saying in the future, if all your need is met, then you don't need to have the sense of, oh, I own this and that. I own like a nice Rolex watch,
Yes,
and
I want more.
I own this, but no longer matter actually in the future, really.
I
Like these days, how many people wear a watch, other than just
Well, they wear
to
Apple
show the
Watches.
status.
Yeah, exactly.
to show the
Right.
stat.
But-
Maybe it's just, there's still some value in wearing a watch, but because nowadays we have phone.
wanna believe-
a phone will replace so many things.
I want to believe if I work harder than the next person, I should get more.
Yeah, so get more. It's endless, right? And then I don't think most of these stuff would matter,
Yeah.
right? Because only more means that, oh, I need to have like a nicer jacket for the cold winter,
Yeah.
right? I want this and that. Maybe most of these stuff no longer relevant,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So maybe in the future, and the technology advanced so much they can make a very thin jacket that you can put on. Like it's actually will adjust the temperature for for 4 seasons, right? Only when you need to go to the beach and you need to take off clothes and go swim, right? So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that all these stuff may no longer relevant, right? In a different time in the future.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just don't think. I mean, maybe because well, I don't know. You've been in Canada longer than you have in China, and I honestly
yes.
think that if we look at it and say, for Canada, we're trying to be socialist, so we're trying to even the playing field, right? That's why we have our taxes.
Yes, actually, Canada it's actually taking a hybrid approach.
Yes.
It's not pure capitalism,
Yeah.
right? It's actually meeting communism in halfway.
But this is the problem, right? Like you look at
We
so
still have the problem
we
of
try to-
capitalism
we try to-
where we develop it too extreme.
We try
Like
to
the
have-
richer is getting richer, the poor is getting poor.
well, but we're trying to make the rules so okay, if you earn more, you tax more, so that you can help the poor,
Yes,
right, and
that's
bring
the
them
practice.
up,
That's the practice in Canada,
right,
So,
to create a big middle class,
yes,
right?
but middle class is disappearing.
But how are we?
Thanks
are
to-
we happy? Because
No,
we're
we're not
taxed to
happy.
death.
Yeah, we're not happy.
We're trying to make everyone equal.
Yes, yeah, we're not any happier than it in the past than our previous generation,
Yeah.
previous generation.
Yeah.
Because I think our debt is so much that we have the loan like a mortgage, and we have the car loan and all kind of loan, credit card loan, and that like basically you have to work for it. You have to work for your life. You never have this free time of spare time to yourself where you can just relax and enjoy your life. Because then nowadays people have to work more and more harder and harder to live the life they want to live.
So from a capitalist perspective,
Yes.
I would say if you work hard, then you can enjoy your life.
Not necessary, not necessary, but
100%.
that's what it's saying, right? Because if working harder is the way to a better life, then a lot of people should be living a better life already. But look at all those people
No.
working a job,
Sorry.
like they're working so hard.
Let me correct myself. I don't mean working
you
harder.
mean say working smart.
Becoming more successful.
Success means
equals-
successful means that you can exploit other people
Not all the
and
time. no.
making more money so that you can live a better life because you can
Isn't that
afford
working
them.
smarter, working harder? Some people exploit other people.
Yeah.
But then you know how to work the system so that you can retire
Um,
earlier than
yes,
other people.
Yes,
Right?
So I think but in terms of success, what's your definition of success? So it means you own a company and then you don't need to work and then it's just that, you can retire early.
Yeah.
And you can afford anything that you
Sure.
want, like a trip, like a,
Sure. I don't
buy
need
nice
to
things.
be Elon Musk, but I need to be comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable is actually a very another word for depends on how comfortable you are, right? So
Yeah. But I'm not rich. I don't have $1 million.
no, yeah. So comfortable means that you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
Not even to that extent. It's like you don't worry at all, or right? There's no worry.
I don't know. I mean, anything can happen, right? Like I think you don't have to worry about being on the streets either.
As long as I have a job, yeah.
True.
Yeah, who knows? One day, if like the unemployment rate gets so bad, like the economy collapse,
Well,
like back
yeah.
in the 60s or 70s, it happened in the U.S., right? So it could happen
Yeah. And
when the
I
economy
guess
collapse.
I guess your ex doesn't help. So
No,
so that's I mean but that's a total like that's you can't foresee those kind of things, I guess, right?
you cannot, but we can see the pattern and how history unfolding itself, right? Because I think like what we discussed in the past, AI, like if like AI it's a hand of a few, meaning the capitalists or the big company, big corporation owns AI, so they can only maximize their profits. Where more jobs going to be replaced, then a lot more people can no longer make the living. So in that case, what's going to happen? Because a lot of people actually, even the Jeff Hinton, right? He's the Nobel Prize winner of this time. So he even want people like when AI is taking over, a lot of people are going to lose their job, a lot. So what's going to happen to the majority of us, right? Because the big corporations now actually they're laying off more people, like the software company, right? They don't need so many people to program anymore.
Okay,
AI
so
does the better job.
we can't get into this because this is a whole other podcast.
Yes.
But I will say again, I'm going to reiterate. That's why we need regulation,
Yes,
right? So
yes.
people don't lose their jobs.
Not just regulation, because I don't think you can stop the innovation now because
You
AI is here.
You can't. Absolutely, you
So
can't.
what is the solution then?
Government,
Right, the government's what can the government do?
legislation, rules.
Yeah, legislation of limited the
Discipline,
what AI
punishment?
can do. No, not that. I think the fundamental solution would be resource distribution. Like how is the resource going to be distributed in the future when AI is around, when AI is taking over everything?
What do you mean resource distribution though?
Resource distribution means okay, how we earn our wages, our salary, right? That's resource distribution. Because currency is a form of distributing the resource.
Not everybody can be in IT. Not everyone can
Although
get
I know,
higher
as
level
long as you
skill.
have a job, no, as long as you have a job, right?
But if
you get paid.
But if you replace the manual labor jobs, like the Tim Hortons worker or whatever, with robots,
Yes.
What about those people who that's all they know how to do?
Yeah, exactly. So what are
That's
they
why
going to
you
do?
need regulation.
Well, no. To the extreme
not
case.
allow that to
No.
happen.
Okay, to the extreme. You're saying almost like there's still jobs out there, right? Okay, to the extreme case, what if there's no more jobs left for human?
But what is the reason for that? AI or robots?
AI, robots.
Then it shouldn't allow to happen. You can't allow
It
that
should
to
not be
happen.
allowed to happen.
Yep.
In a communist country, I would say I want it to be happened. Because when the robots and AI take over, then they're going to liberate people from the labor work of making that happen.
And what are they gonna do?
They can just enjoy their life because
Without
all they
any
need,
money?
all they need, the food, the clothing, all the resources that they need physically
Yeah.
to sustain their life, it's there. It's
So they
provided
don't
by
earn
the
money?
robot.
You don't earn money. How do you support yourself?
Well, you don't need money. That's what I'm saying.
But-
if you're hungry, you want to eat something, you just go there and eat. The robot will provide that for
But it's
you.
got to be paid for. That rice.
You
has
don't
be
need to
paid
pay for it. That's what I'm saying.
No, somebody's got to pay for it.
Well, the robot runs eventually. Like, okay, we talk about this in the past, right? Then how the robot's gonna take the power, right? The energy. Right now, you're still in the mindset of, okay, we still need to, make that happen, like in terms of the power factory or whatever, right? But what I'm saying is that if AI or robots are capable of taking those energy directly from the sun, like, there's another form of energy to support those robots can, they can work
Okay.
for years. The energy can support them, right? So in that case, simply it's just that those energy will actually turn into food, clothing, whatever that you need. Then currency at that point no longer relevant.
What do you do every day?
You just enjoy your life, or you may take a nap or sleep or whatever.
What if you need a massage?
The robot will come massage you. There's actually a massaging robot in China happening right now.
Okay.
We don't have that notion yet in Canada. We're still
Okay.
like thinking about our human rubbing you. A robot can actually give you massage in China better than a human.
Okay, this is a rabbit hole. We're gonna go
Yes,
down a rabbit hole.
I know.
It's another
I know.
2 hours.
But it's happening. My brother
Yeah.
just got back from China. He
Yeah.
said, "Oh, they're so advanced in China now.
Yeah.
Like in the airport, when you check in, there's no people working there anymore on the counter.
Yeah.
You basically just go out on the terminal and then check in, and then you print out, you waive your luggage, and then you print out the label and then wrap it and put it in. That's it. Off you go. The whole process, no humans involved. Only when you check it in.
Okay, let's stop here. I want to talk about this because I think it's important, but it's got to be another podcast because, it's going to take another 2 hours. We're already in for
Yeah.
I don't even know how many. We're probably in for about an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Yeah, I think that's right.
2 hours already.
2 hours. Yes.
Right. But okay, let's end it here. Everybody, make sure you go to the Growlery Beer Company out by Airport
It's
Road.
good stuff. Yes.
It's great stuff. This is the Cran Tea Tangler. If you need to, you can go to Krispy Kreme. They are good donuts. I don't think they need our
No,
promotion
they're good
or
donuts.
support, right?
I'm not saying that's
But
not right.
cheers, Kevin.
Cheers.
Another year
Another
in the
year.
books.
Yeah.
Let's make it a good one.
Yeah.
All right.
This takes
Bye, everyone.
this tastes like beer.